Hello and welcome back to Rage Gaming, and today I've got a bit of a clown show for you. Elden Ring and its DLC, Shadow of the Erdtree, is an ongoing source of pain for any fan of From Software. We just want information, teasers. I think at this point, we genuinely take happily a second image to stare at for like another 6 months or whatever. It's a dark and dire time, and if you've been a fan of From Software over its history of releases, this isn't necessarily something new for us. We go incredibly long periods with absolutely nothing, even if this period is longer than we expected. The thing is, we were expecting news about Elden Ring to spring up via the Game Awards on December 7th. Jeff Keighley, the guy who runs and hosts the Game Awards, he was posting about meeting with different developers like From Software before the event. We even had a financial report from Kadokawa, the parent company of From Software, in which they promised to make a major effort to prolong the long-term life of Elden Ring within the deadline of March 31st, 2024. At this point, we were pretty damn sure that the Game Awards was going to give us something. And then when it didn't and there was no news at all, yes, we've been left a bit hollowed out by the experience. So it's clear to me at this point that a lot of people are getting a bit sick of waiting for news, and that is fair enough. But there's also a lot of people who are very desperate, and that's also reasonable. Unfortunately, before the actual event, the Game Awards, there were signs that the DLC is going to be further away than we hoped. A recent interview with Yasuhiro Kitao, a lead producer for Elden Ring and From Software in general, he had an interview that took place before the Game Awards, like a week or so, at the recent PlayStation Awards. Kitao explained that Elden Ring's DLC was a little ways off and that he couldn't really talk about it. To quote him, he said this: "I will talk about the DLC another time. It's still a little ways off. Progress is going well. Like the Dark Souls series and Bloodborne, the game will feature new battles and new characters. Please look forward to new things." Be warned that that's a bad Google translation, but that's the essence of what he said. This interview created a lot of concern for Shadow of Erdtree and whether we'd actually get nothing at the Game Awards that following week. And obviously, we didn't. So everyone's been at a bit of a loss when it comes to the DLC and when it's finally going to release. Now it just seems so unlikely we're going to get a release by the time that we hit the 2-year anniversary, or even before March 31st. After all. So, the clown show that I mentioned. This is an Elden Ring themed controller, and to give it credit, it does look pretty cool. There's also 2 other versions, themed around the characters Malenia and Ranni. Again, both very cool in design. As I make this video, it's December 15th, and something really weird has happened because of these controllers I've just shown you today. They appeared on the Philippine chain store, Data Blitz, which was showing off these special controllers, named the eSwap X 2 Pro controllers with the limited edition Elden Ring themes. Why do we care about this at all? They might be neat, but why is it news? Because the page showing off these controllers and showcasing them generally is now deleted. Deleted in the same day that it went out. What was on that page that was so heinous that it had to be deleted immediately? Well, we can actually take a look. It said this: to sync with new Shadow of Erdtree expansion release, Elden Ring Anniversary February 2024. Further referencing, quote, major key beat or new game expansion in 2025 when referring to the other 2 designs like the Ranni one. The controllers were meant to launch with Elden Ring's DLC, Shadow of the Erdtree, in February. And hell, somehow they were planning a follow-up for another game expansion in 2025 with those other 2 versions. What's going on here? How does this random company that makes custom controllers have information that we're all drowning for? Well, it probably doesn't, and that's why it's all a bit comical. The reason we're talking about it is because we simply couldn't ignore this news at a certain point. The Elden Ring's Reddit, its top post right now that's blowing up really fast, is about exactly this, so we just felt we should probably talk about it. The page itself claimed to be a Bandai Namco and Thrustmaster Elden Ring collab. Thrustmaster is a company that provides accessories for both PC and console gaming, and you'll often see them with like steering wheels and joysticks and stuff like that. They're no joke. Their brand account on Twitter has this huge following, and it's really hard for a brand account to reach that kind of following on a Twitter account. But it wasn't Thrustmaster who even posted this or talked about this. It was this somewhat random website, Data Blitz, just referencing Thrustmaster and this collab project thing. The whole thing was thrown out the window in terms of believability initially, because there's so many reasons why this could be complete BS. I mean, I could make my own themed Elden Ring controller skins and decals, and then I could start selling them, and you know, based on my own knowledge, maybe I'd plan it around the 2-year anniversary when I figure the DLC was going to launch before the sadness at the Game Awards. I'd be worried about the legality of doing that, but yeah, I could try it, I guess. But then you have to wonder, why'd their page get taken down so extremely quick. The page I'm looking at is actually a web cache. It's a way to see web pages even though they're down now, so you can see that various images don't load anymore. I'm just seeing the information that used to be available. Funny information like how the price is obviously not set yet. They've got it down as 1,000 Philippine pesos, I believe, which apparently converts to about 14 British pounds, which is my currency. That's just a pre-ordered down payment though, and they have a tentative release date of February 2024. They literally say right there that these release dates are not like concrete, they're subject to change. There's even this page that has the confidential stamp as if this is like a special leak or something, apparently made in October of 2023. Look, I strongly believe these controller designs could be real, but the idea that this is a genuine release date or schedule even for Shadow of Erdtree, that's where it's a bit silly. We're talking about designs made either in collab with Bandai or completely solo, and they just planned to release it around the time that the DLC launched, and maybe they figured that'd be at the 2-year anniversary, which is a fair assessment. The page that shows the Elden Ring themed one, it actually says open to changes to cope with Elden Ring branding, policy and style guide. This could mean that it was a planned guide and these are just like plans they're giving to Bandai for them to approve or not approve, or it could just be that there's some sort of policy or style guide that they're allowed to make within these confines to sell a product like this. Bandai has nothing to do with it. It does tell us that whatever we've seen here is definitely not final. Whatever it is, genuinely it's a smart marketing strategy. Make something cool linked to a popular piece of media and then launch it with said popular media. Many of us expected Shadow of the Erdtree to launch early 2024, maybe late February with the 2-year anniversary, maybe March before the deadline of March 31st like we talked about. That's become very unlikely now based on everything, but there was a good time where we really thought that was possible. There's even the chance that thrustmaster are doing a collab with Bandai, that the planned launch is completely up in the air, but maybe the original plan for the DLC was February before it just didn't work out that way. Why was it listed on the Data Blitz website though? That's where I'm most confused. And why was it taken down so quick? Maybe it was a genuine mistake or a legal issue, but I just really doubt this is a genuine leak of relevance. It has made for some good memes at least. The Reddit comments are great. Thrustmaster is known, like I said, for making lots of controllers for racing games, so wheel controllers. So that obviously means we're getting wheel support for Torrent and the DLC. It's going to be a hell of a year for releases. We're going to get Bloodborne Kart finally, and then Elden Kart after that in DLC 2. Plenty of people see this as something very silly and aren't taking it seriously, but it's comments like these that I think represent why we're even talking about this in a video today. People are just desperate for anything, any news at all. So even this is worth considering and talking about. It's funny in its own way, at least it's something, and you know, those controller designs are cool. But let's step away from all of that. When are we actually getting news at this point? Personally, I'm unaware of any relevant upcoming events that From Software would or could use to announce things. I figure at this point, they're just going to do it themselves. The Erdtree announcement was on Twitter after all, even if it was just an image. We know that development continues and that they're not going to talk about it until they're ready to. At best, I could imagine, you know, the 2-year anniversary, maybe they'll do an announcement then or talk about it or anything, but we really don't know. All I can do is say, I hope this video is entertaining or at least interesting in some way, since we're just desperate for information. When I first saw this pop up, I thought it was just silly straight away, but since then it's blown up on Reddit. I've seen it all over Twitter a bunch of times. Now there's news websites talking about it. It's crazy how fast this stuff happens. Hopefully I'll be back before too long with a video of some real certainty. Wouldn't that be nice? But for now, I've been Hollow, you've been you. Maybe you're also Hollow at this point, and I'll see you next time.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.